Hello, my loves. So I'm going to speak today about masculinity, and it has been inspired by Netflix, but it's began for me, I don't know when it began. It began a long time ago. And I'd like to talk about the role of shamanic healing within that and the importance of soul. Now, I did a post here about my partner and the role that he'd played in supporting me in being able to trust the masculine again. And then what happened through that as well has been a real journey of connecting with the male ancestors and allowing ourselves to be supported by them, allowing the release. And a lot of it was about psychopomp work. How do we get these souls to peace when there's lots of ghost ancestors in the family around the masculine line? And also, what's the direction of the ancestral line as well? And how do we support that process? Because without supporting both the masculine and the feminine, nothing can move forward. So when we do ancestral journeys, what we're doing is we're giving the soul the story of the bloodline. How did the energetics come to reach this point? And this takes us beyond actions. It takes us beyond who did what or like specific incidents. It helps us to see it in patterns and energies and trace it back to the source. And the source for many families is war. It's dissociation of the war hero. And I was guided to gather hazelnuts as part of the ceremony, one of the ceremonies that I was doing for the masculine line. And they wanted their stories to be heard. They couldn't express the grief and pain that they'd been through in their lifetimes. And so energetically it had been passed on. So the storyteller is such a crucial aspect of healing ancestral lines. Whether that's your channeling writing or your drawing, painting. Painting is so available because you can process things in colour. Dancing is another aspect that I was doing, being guided to journey and then feel parts of the body and hear a story through that. And simply by really understanding that the life that we're living here and now is influenced and shaped by eons past is supportive. Because it takes away blame, it takes away shame, and it puts people in a position where they can move forward. And that's what we all need to do from this. Now, when I call in allies for ancestral healing, the trees come in so powerfully. Why do the trees come in? Because they've seen past and they see future, and the way that the earth is connected up as a sacred geometry of activated points, these trees can help to, they're wisdom keepers, and they help to hold this information, but they also help to support and release. So because our grandparents were the war generation, if you're my age, but it doesn't matter because we've all been through this process where there was mass decimation of the masculine line. And when we see people put wreaths on cemeteries or in ceremony and they've got uniforms on, we can connect with factual events and possibly reverence, but what it doesn't touch is the emotional decimation of ancestral lines and the processes that need to happen for masculine stories, emotions, identities to be held, seen and transmuted and reimagined. And that work can be done with families. You know, I can work with families. That work can be done with individuals. It can be done with mothers, and it can be done with boys. And there are many, many practices to do that, but simply holding what I would call a tree eye view, as in looking up in the branches and seeing the bigger picture, and also, you know, the thousand year lifespan of the yew tree, for example. That's all about initiations and changes. And how do we now bring ceremony into our lives to support our men? And when I say our men, I mean our fathers, our grandfathers, our sons and our grandchildren. Each family now needs a 7-year plan, a 7-generation plan, because we're reaching the time when we can come to reset. The earth is resetting her energies. We're able to heal these energies because the grids are lined up so release can happen. And these souls are activated, the soul information can come through. I am doing ancestral work constantly through in my life, but I have a deep connection with it. It's one of my purposes, one of my strands. Actually, I hate the word purpose. It sounds so masculine, how ironic. I love working with the elements. I love working with the trees, the dragons, because they get it, you know. And when we connect with those energies, we're not doubting ourselves. We're moving out of guilt. We're moving out of shame. We're moving out of blame, and we're moving into reconstellating our families, reconstellating the masculine and the feminine. And that's the real gift of ancestral healing. That's why all ancient cultures did it. That's why it's coming back. And that's why you're watching this video now. Yeah. Let's remember why we're here. And I would like to thank all of my male ancestors for their support and guidance in bringing us to this point. Thank you.